Hey guys, it's Cassie from Creatabilities, and I am excited to have you join me. Now, many of you know that I do these weekly mini trainings every Monday night, and usually you just get this face, but this time I get to have my friend Angie from Lucky Little Learners. She is going to be talking about all things Toothy kits. And if you have no idea what that means, stay tuned and we're going to go through the good, the great, and the awesome about these kits. So let me go ahead. I'm going to bring her on. Okay. Hi, Angie. Welcome.
Hey guys,
I'm excited to have you join us tonight.
I'm excited to be here, Cassie. Thank you so much for asking me to hop on here.
Yeah. And so these Toothy kits, I first saw them, I want to say on Facebook, and I was like, what is this? What is going on? Like, tell me, I didn't understand what it was at first, but it looked really fun.
Yep.
So tell me a little bit about them.
Yeah, well, just a little background on myself. I've taught kindergarten, first and second grade for a total of 12 years. And a little bit of my background on all of that is that I had gotten my master's degree in math. And so I tend to gravitate towards making math resources. So whenever I start really any product, I always think of what's kind of a pain point in the classroom that I need help with, right? Or other teachers need help with. And I know that one of the things for me, it was during center time, finding those activities that, they're going to keep the kids on task, that are going to, in an ideal world, not have the directions changed too much so that they're not constantly stopping and asking me, what do I do with this, or how does this work? Because, I'm at the teacher table and we're doing some really important small group activities there. So I need those independent tasks to be going on, in the other station. So I was thinking about that. I was thinking about just self-correcting if possible, just all of that. And so that kind of developed into Toothy. And basically, when I had launched Toothy, it was kind of a crazy whirlwind because I had launched it into the world, and it was a matter of a couple days, and it just started. The feedback I was getting was coming in really fast, and really, it was really positive feedback. And I thought, oh my gosh, I think I'm onto something here because, you launch a product and it doesn't usually do that. And so I thought I better run and get this thing trademarked. And I didn't know anything about that stuff at all because that's just not my world. But I knew that it was something special and it was an original idea. And I just knew that I better protect it because it's taking off really fast. And so anyway, so that just kind of became the thing. And then Math Toothy was where I started, and it kind of branched into all kinds of areas. So basically, what is Toothy? It's essentially like a task card. So can you see this okay, Cassie?
Yeah, I'm going to move me down. They don't need to see my face.
So it's essentially a task card with answers on the back. And that part is huge because it allows the kids to get that immediate feedback from their problem without having to ask the teacher or doing it wrong the entire time of centers or however you're using it, and then realizing it after you've just wasted 20 minutes. And they come in all shapes and sizes. So this would be just like a 2-digit addition. Again, answers are on the back. And like I said, it went from math, and then it went into grammar, and it went into phonics, reading. Most recently was reading, a first and second grade. I actually have third grade coming in May. So, and then basically the part that's the Toothy part that needs probably some clarification is this would be a Toothy map. And so basically what the kids are going to do is they're going to solve their problem, and they're going to write it on a Toothy map. And then what they do is I like to use these page protectors just because they're really nice for the write and wipe aspect.
Yeah, those are great.
They are, and they don't have to fiddle with, sometimes if you laminate them, hard to get wiped off.
Yeah.
So I do like using these. So then what they do is they write their answer here on this space, and then they turn it over to check to see if it's correct. And then up here, they add the tooth in Toothy's mouth. And I know it sounds just like a silly, basic thing, but it truly is. It's taken off. The kids love it. Kids are really excited about them. And the Toothy mats, I've kind of taken that in a whole bunch of different directions too, because they're offered in the different characters like this. But they're also offered in the black and white. And then they're also offered in holidays and seasons. We've got apples and hearts and Santa faces, and then we also have an animals version of it. And so they come with like tigers and cows and cats, and so it's a way to just kind of keep it fresh and new and kids excited about it. So that's kind of Toothy in a nutshell. And you know, that's kind of why when the kids, the part that I keep hearing from teachers, they'll say, I love these because when we're doing our center time, I don't have to explain the directions again. It's a skill that changes. And so they can just put the new skill out. I mean, the math bundle itself has 52 skills in it. And so that's enough where, it's enough where the kids are going to have enough things all year. And within each skill, a lot of times there's 1 or 2 or 3 different levels. So like this one, for example, with the 2-digit subtraction, it's going to be offered in vertical and horizontal formats. And then they'll go 3-digit, 1-digit, 2-digit. So it's covering so many different ways to represent the problem. And so then they're able to differentiate easily.
Yeah, so I like that. So not only are the kids not having to decode instructions time after time after time, but the teacher can like almost automatically differentiate it.
Yeah, yes. And that's
awesome.
That's exactly it. And that's what I think teachers like, is because it's very easy to do that. And it's not, you know, if you print it all off and you put them, and a lot of times teachers are putting them in these, and this isn't, I mean, I always stress this, you don't have to put them in these colored containers. And I will also say, for those that are watching and say, I don't want to spend $40 on one of these kits, the actual containers, please, please, please do not spend that money, because Michael's right now is offering these on their website, right? $40, I think, is the full price. Never pay that. Never pay that, because you can almost always get them on sale. And on top of that sale, you can apply your teacher discount. And so I think you can get them down to about $13, $14, $15 versus $40. So just be patient if they're not on sale, because honestly, give it a few days and it will go on sale. But these are nice for that.
So if you do store it in that container, I have a couple of those and I don't have any need for them, but they were just so pretty, I had to buy them.
Right.
So you print off just like one set of task cards for the little colored containers.
Yep. So here's an example of one of the containers, right? And so the bundle would include any of the bundles, no matter what skill, phonics, math, grammar, reading. It'll come with one of these little labels to put on the outside. And then the other thing that teachers like about these is that it has a skill helper chart. So it kind of walks you through the skill a little bit, explains it in a little more detail. And then the cards, this isn't the right one for the right set, but they just go right inside there. And honestly, for those that want to keep theirs, not have to buy so many of those containers, they can put, I bet you, 6 sets inside of one of these. So if you want to go, you know, if you've got the different levels and whatever of the skill, you can stick them all in one container. So that's a nice, exactly. It's a nice feature of that. So you can kind of save your money on not having to buy a ton of these by doubling, tripling them up.
And we have someone, Erica said that Walmart has them for $13 right now. So
they do, $12.97 at Walmart. And my Walmart, this is kind of funny because a week ago, teachers were telling me they're in Walmart and seeing them. So I literally dropped everything. I think this was Easter. No lie. I told my husband, I said, time out. We got to go to Walmart. He wasn't happy. I said, we need to get these containers. Long story short, my Walmart won't have them for 2 weeks because I live in the middle of nowhere in northern Minnesota. But what I want to see is, before I will say run to Walmart and get them, I'm not sure on the quality as far as if the clasps are easy to open or not, you know, all those little things. And if that doesn't matter to you, then you can't go wrong for $12.97. So it's a good tip.
Have you ever stored them like in binders with page protectors?
Yeah. So there's a few other ways that I've seen teachers store them. So one other way, and here's it's going to look like a mess right here, but this is one way you could, and what meaning that you can stick them on these rings, right? So, and then they take up a lot less room than those kits. So, you know, the loose leaf rings, you can just get Amazon or any kind of office supply store. The nice thing about those, even if you use these, is to keep them together on these so that they are a set, that they don't lose the pieces. So So this is one other way by putting them on these rings. I've even seen teachers put them on like these rings and tack them onto their wall, like have little hooks.
Yeah,
and they wind them up, which is nice because they don't take up a lot of space, and then the kids can just grab and go. I've also seen, I wish I had them right in front of me. I've also seen where they have these envelopes that are colored envelopes. You wouldn't need them colored. And then they zip them through the laminator and just, use a little X-Acto knife to slit that little opening and stick your cards right inside those envelopes. And those actually, the teacher that I've seen that's done this was able to get all 52 sets in like a basket that really wasn't that big because they could just stack real nice in there.
Yeah, I did that with my centers. I had problems with my kids, like the cards would slip out because it was all laminated. So I like the snapping containers.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I think bottom line is there's just so many ways you can store them. It doesn't have to be just this one way. I know you're seeing these everywhere, but it doesn't have to be with these,
Right. So we're getting some questions about prep. Talk to me about how you would prep it. So you've purchased it, you've downloaded it, and your kits, do they come only like with all the 52 things, or can you buy them, say, by like addition and subtraction, multiplication, whatever?
Okay, so each kit is bundled. They're actually really, really reasonable. I'm trying to keep the cost down for teachers because I get it. It's endless. It's tough. It's they're $20 for a kit, a full kit. So I haven't necessarily
for the whole year.
For the whole.
That's a killer deal. Holy cow.
I know, but I understand it's going to take some paper. I understand it's going to take some ink, and I understand that you're going to need somewhere to store them. So there is, so you are going to have to put a little bit of cost into those. If you are in a district that allows you to print unlimited or what have you, then, the ink and paper isn't an issue. One thing I did do to save on prepping costs, everything is available in black and white. So I do not have the only thing I have in color, honestly, would be these mats, with one of the options being color, but everything else is in black and white. And then all of the sets are done in black and white. They aren't color clip art, so it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg to print these things. I will say, as far as some prep tips, the file is set up to print double-sided. And so when you open it up on your screen, you're going to file print, and you're going to, in your printer settings, you're just going to click two-sided. And so when it prints out, it's going to be set up so that it just literally file print, file print, file print, file print, and just spit them all out. If you want to change colors just to make it, all these different colors, and each set had their own color, that's fine. But honestly, I've tried to keep that prep as easy as possible. And even little things, you would understand this as a TPT designer, just the basic things of like not having to cut around each border and none of that. Like it's as simple as a cutting job and a printing job as can be. And I know a lot of teachers too ask about laminating. Should I laminate or should I do cardstock? And that's honestly a complete personal preference.
Lamination for life. I laminated everything.
Well, and it's nice because then you have them for a long time. They're going to be really durable. So, so those are, I guess, my prep tips. But I've tried to keep it as easy as possible. I will also say I do have, I don't think I have them in front of me. You'll notice that on every single card, you will see a little letter up there. Do you see that on your screen?
Yeah.
So it's pretty discreet, but what I've done with all of those is I've had a letter in the corner there for a reason. For teachers that want to have recording sheets for accountability purposes, a lot of times like principals will say, centers are great, but you need some kind of accountability piece. And so there are recording sheets with these, and it just matches up with that letter in the corner. So.
Oh, that's so nice. And then I like that because then there's a way to hold them accountable.
Yeah.
Like even if the kids just think that they're being held accountable, that can be really powerful in motivating them to get it done and not just mess around during the center time.
Agreed. Yes.
Okay. So do you want to do the video or we have some questions?
You know what? I kind of forgot about the video. So I'm going to preface this with this video that Cassie's about to show you guys right now. I want you to notice the different skill sets so it's going to feature a set from Math Toothy, a set from Phonics Toothy, and a set from Grammar Toothy. Reading Toothy isn't in this video, but you'll have a quick little glimpse into what each set kind of looks like as far as the skill, and then also the different mats. So you'll see what a seasonal mat looks like, all the different mats. And there's actually ones that are in there called hairy, and so instead of the teeth, they're putting hair. But anyways, yes, if you can play that, that would give them a nice glimpse into that.
Okay, now just full disclosure, we've never done a video like this before, so it might be loud. There is music. You have been warned. Okay. Let me get it going. Okay. Okay. That's cute. So the hairy one, that one's really cute.
I know. Well, and a lot of people don't know about those mats yet. I don't know. Because I don't talk about them. But it's a way to keep it spiced up and different, So if the kids start to feel a little bit like it's getting monotonous, you can throw in another mat or however you want to. Yeah.
Well, and I noticed on the back with the answer keys, and maybe it was just my screen, but it looks like it's printed in a gray instead of the black.
Yeah, and that was done intentionally because we all know, you've taught the kids are solving it and they're holding it up to the light, right? and you can't see through them when it's that gray. So that was done intentionally for that reason.
Yeah, that's good. My daughter just had a spelling test on Friday, and she goes, "Mom, my spelling buddy was holding up the paper and I could see through it to the words." And
like, they're not dumb.
So that's really smart. That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a couple of questions here. Janelle says, do you have any using figurative language?
If I do, it is going to be in the grammar pack. So if you go into, I think, do we have the Toothy category link? Do you know?
Yeah, in the post, I added the link to her store, her blog, and she's going to give us access to a freebie, which is awesome to get you started. If you're kind of like, what is this? How do I use it? So all of those are in the link
and so
the post. And I can post it again here in the comments too.
Sure, that sounds good. So to answer Janelle's question, Janelle, if it's in the standards, I'm pretty sure it's in the pack. But just to be sure if you're on the fence of purchasing because you need that figurative language skill in there, all you need to do is just go into my store and you'll see in the description, it literally lists out every single skill that's in the bundle. So make sure you check that out before you actually go in to purchase.
Okay, so there, I just linked again to the Toothy category in her store. If you click on that, it'll take you there and it'll show you everything that she has.
And you can always use that search bar too. I know that sometimes it's just easier to type in 3rd grade math Toothy or whatever you need,
Yes. Okay, let's see. Chris says, do the students do this alone or in small group?
So Chris, that's a really good question. And I will say yes and yes. So they're they're very versatile. If you want to use them as an independent activity, like as an early finisher or maybe a morning work option, or I've even had teachers, believe it or not, tell me they've used it for inside recess. So it can be done independently, but you can also do it within partners. You can have the kids do it in a small group. And I've even seen teachers display them on under a dot camera and show the card. The whole class solves them on their mats or even on a marker board. And then they 1, 2, 3 show me the answer. And then whoever got it right gets a tooth, and the teacher just kind of walks around and monitors that. So it can really be used on any of those settings.
Awesome. Renee says, what about the task cards that are larger than the colored boxes? For example, the comparing and contrasting fairy tales. How are folks storing them?
So there are in the reading set, like she's talking about there, Renee, there are just a couple because of the nature of the activity itself. So that are bigger than those containers. So what I have done is I just take a file folder and I put them right inside of there. And I wonder, so for example, one of the other ones that are that way would be this nonfiction passage story here. And then the cards are actually the smaller ones that fit in the Toothy containers. And so then what I do is I literally just take all of those, I stick them in the file folder, and then I don't suppose you can see if I back up maybe, they will fit right on top, and I have tested it out to make sure that they'll clasp shut. And so for the couple sets that are larger than those containers, the question cards will still fit in the containers. It's just those passages. I didn't want to shrink the print down too small because I thought for those first and second graders, especially with the smaller print, you don't want to go too small just to keep it appropriate. So that's what I do there. Good question.
Someone asked, what do you do if a kid's just cheating and looking at the answer on the back?
So I get this question a lot. And what I've seen from my own experience is if the kids are doing this with more than one person, the other kids will tell on them. I mean, it doesn't, I don't have this like really great answer for it besides the fact that the kids rat on each other and they don't get away with it. And if you're playing by yourself and you're just constantly, it's not fun. I don't know. I haven't had, not to say it hasn't happened, but the kids rat each other out and then we take care of it right there. So.
Yeah, I think that's one of the benefits of doing it in partners or small group is that they're like eagle eye on each other to make sure they're not cheating.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're getting a lot of positive. Like Erin just said, your Math Centers bundle is amazing.
Oh, yay. Thanks, Erin.
Let's see. Oh, yeah, there's another cheating question. So hopefully, Sherry, we just answered your cheating question.
And you know what, too? If that's a common problem where it's consistently happening, then maybe not put them as an independent choice. Make sure that your Toothy game is done in partners or in small group. And I promise you, even if you just tell your students, you know, you need to let me know or have your eagle eyes out for anybody that's going to peek at the answers, and all of a sudden they're immediately spies and they're immediately looking for the cheater, you know, so.
Yeah. Dorothy said you clicked on the link and it's not going there. Dorothy, sometimes that happens while we're live. So just wait until we're done and then the link should all work just fine.
And this will be still up on your page, Kathy, for replay viewers. And
yes,
if they have to go check and then come back, it'll be there.
Yes, absolutely. And again, all the links to find her on, I'm sure you guys know where she's at, but her TPT store and her blog, and then also to the freebie. So you can download that and try it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Alicia says, I have all the Math Toothy products and they are so motivating for my students. Mm-hmm. And you've built such a caring and supportive group of followers. It's one of the best Facebook math groups to join.
Oh, Alicia, thank you so much. That's very sweet. Means a lot to me.
Okay, so I think most of them are, oh, let's see. Susan said, how many sets of cards do you print for each skill?
So Susan, I think this honestly just depends on how you plan to use them in your classroom. So if you, for example, if you're going to use them for a center and you plan on having maybe a couple different skills out, then just one set. If you are wanting all the students in the class to be doing the same set at the same time, you're going to need more sets. I personally just would recommend, for the sake of not being overwhelmed, because there are a lot of sets included, I would just recommend starting out with one. And when you're starting out, when you're teaching the concept of how Toothy works, do it whole group. Put it under the document camera, put it up on the smartboard and start there. Because the nice thing is you can kind of cover everything, establish the rules, how the game works. And honestly, they have to play maybe once or twice, and then you're set for the year. The kids don't have to come back and ask you how to play. And so, so again, personal preference, but I suggest just starting with the one set.
Okay, awesome. Megan and Janelle are both looking for third grade, specifically third grade reading.
Yep. Megan, it's coming. We're in the works of it right now. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, if all goes as planned, it's going to be out by the end of May. I will say reading, this is the hardest set we have ever made because the text complexity level is third grade. It's up there, and the third grade reading standards really get real defined and really targeted and really specific. And it's proving to be a challenging task, but it's working. We're working on it. We're getting it. It's coming end of May.
Yeah, I've been there. I did 100 reading passages for each grade level. It's the hardest thing I've ever created because you're trying to get it rigorous and on level, and
it's tough
enough. And
I haven't made much for third grade reading. And as soon as I jumped into this, I thought, what did I just do?
Oh no.
It's coming. It's a hard one.
Okay, let's see. You'll have to go through and read these comments because they're pretty awesome.
Really? Aw, love that.
Laurie said, what do you store the reading passages in? I think that's just the file folder that you showed us.
Yep. Yep, the file folder. And Lori, that, like I said, once they're in the file folder, I have tested it out. I print every single one in there, stuck them in the file folder. The lid does shut and close, clasp down. And honestly, when I didn't really talk about this, but when I pull them out for a center, I'm not going to set that whole big old box down. I'm not going to have them picking out of this entire box. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull out the 1 or 2 sets that I want them to do. And I might just put it in just a simple basket like that with maybe the recording sheets and that 1 set or those 2 sets that are in there. So when it comes to those passages, you might only be pulling a couple, 2, 3 passages out and sticking it in there for the center.
So when you're doing centers, you're setting it up with not every center being a Toothy task card thing. It's just 1 or 2 possibly.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's personal preference and depends on, how well behaved your kids are and how much they can self-monitor and all that. But I just think the more simplified you can make it, the better.
Yeah, agreed.
At least at first.
Yeah. So Taylor asked, how many sets are included in the K3 bundle?
So Taylor, so I have Kinder Math, Kinder ELA. Each of those have, this is off the top of my head, I don't have it in front of me, approximately, I'm going to guess 30 sets in each. There's a first grade math, a first grade phonics, a first grade grammar, a first grade reading. Wow. Anywhere from 20 to 50 sets. Honestly, it just depends. And then the second grade, same thing, reading, phonics, grammar, math. And then third grade is reading, grammar. Nope, not reading. Grammar, math, reading is coming. And it really does come down to, I intentionally looked at the standards and I made however many I needed to make to cover each standard. And so it just kind of varies. The biggest one I think is the second grade math, which is at 52 sets. So,
and $20 for 52 sets is everyone else is watching. You need to know that probably took a long time to do.
A long time to do, yes.
Okay, we have just a couple more and then we'll let you go. But Crystal says, do you model each skill for each set when introducing them?
I don't, Crystal. So definitely you're going to want to, the first couple times, you're going to want to do this explicitly teaching them how you draw a tooth, what would be appropriate there, how you flip it for the answer. You go through all those things. Like I said, maybe 1 or 2 times. And then honestly, unless you teach kindergarten, of course, kindergarten is going to need a little bit more modeling. But for second graders, no, I don't need to do that. I might say this week we're going to work on 3-digit addition. That's the Toothy set that's in the bin to this week. But I don't need to walk them through any of the modeling for that after they've learned.
Okay, yeah, well, and it's kind of like the same thing. You're not going to give them a task card on a topic you guys haven't covered yet.
Yeah. So. And that's one question I also get now that you said that. Like oftentimes I'll have a teacher say, well, how long do you take teaching that skill before you put it out there? And I will say, whenever I'm using anything, whatever it is, from whoever I get it from for centers, if I'm using it at centers, that is a skill that is being reviewed. They know how to do it independently. It is not a new skill. It is a skill that I expect them to be able to do independently and do it while we're reviewing for the sake of retaining that muscle memory.
Yeah. And last one just says, what standards did you use?
I looked at my main, definitely Common Core was covered. I also went and took a peek at the Texas TEKS. And then there are a couple other states out there that are Florida, Ohio, that are heavily requested. And so you will see sets like that too, that are just extra. And even those that teach Common Core, they might decide they're going to pull in another standard from the TEKS set that just because it's a good practice. So it's definitely Common Core covered. And I'm pretty sure 99% of TEKS covered and some others were peeked at and implemented.
Yeah, and if you look at them, they're all so similar.
They are. Yeah,
They're,
they
they're very similar.
And like, for example, one of the big things that people will talk about, I know for, because I'm a math, like just a math geek, right? So one of the things is like talking about how that traditional algorithm for regrouping, second grade, we don't do that, right? In some states, depending on what you teach and what states or what standards you follow. So what I did do on purpose, and these are two different sets, but you will see that they're going to come in vertical algorithm, horizontal algorithm, and then if they aren't solving it the standard algorithm way, that's where they can use their Toothy mat and their workspace, and however it is, open number lines, whatever strategy they want to use to solve it can be done here, and then the teeth up top.
Yeah, that's smart. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if there's any more questions, maybe Angie could pop into the comments and answer them. I think we've got most of them. Again, if you're just joining us now, there are links to her freebie that she's going to give us, to her blog, and to the Toothy category in her store. So as soon as we're done going live, you can just go to the original post and click on those links and find everything you need. Angie, this has been great. I appreciate you taking your time. This is something that I've wanted to talk about for a while, just because it looks so unique and engaging, and it's different from anything I've ever seen, and the kids seem to love it.
Thank you, Cassie, so much. I sincerely appreciate you inviting me on here.
Yeah, anytime. And hopefully, you'll come back and we can talk maybe about Harry or Freckles.
I'd love to.
Or something else.
And make sure if you are in here, you guys check out that freebie, because it is there's actually several things in there. So just make sure you go in and download it. And if anything, just try it out with your class. I promise you your kids will love Toothy. Toothy.
I think you're right. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, everyone. And I hope you guys have a fantastic week. Have a good night.